What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury fans, and Deontay Wilder fans. Now, I want to talk about realistic subjects, okay? Realistically, you have two guys coming from two different countries, having two totally different fan bases. Deontay Wilder has his, Tyson Fury has his. And last year when Corona hit, we had a lot of accusations, and a lot of people seeing pictures of gloves and other things, and then drew their own conclusion. And a lot of times when you look for certain stuff, people call it reaching, especially when it doesn't hold any evidence of that really supports what you're claiming it is. Within Tyson Fury, that's where you have problems. Okay, we know all those. But the one thing that people overlook are the things that people should have saw in that fight. Okay? A lot of people that claim that Tyson Fury cheated or claim that what wasn't right about the fight, they should really have been looking at the things that weren't, not instead of the things that someone was accusing, and start looking at certain other things. Let me break it down to you. Deontay Wilder, and this is very rarely mentioned, okay? Deontay Wilder was fouled a lot. He was fouled a lot. But then again, he also fouled a lot. His signature is he has no inside game at all. He can't fight on the inside. So when he does grab a person or he hurts a person, he swings at liberty and whacks you right behind the head. Rabbit punches are very illegal. Okay. Those punches have put people in comas. And they never got out, they never came out of it. Cricket Colon is a prime example of that. It's the worst example, really, because it just shows you how and why you should never get hit behind where your brainstem is. That's not an area to get hit. For that matter, the area to get hit is not your head at all, but rabbit punches are because you have nerves back there that can disembobulate, alter things. They're connected to so many parts of your body. That's your computer, right? That's your natural computer. So that was the thing people should have talked about. Not, oh, gloves, I've never seen a glove that looks like that. In fact, hey, let's look back at, these gloves look funky. Let's look back at the first fight. Hey, then we had Glovegate 1. I guess Glovegate 1 represented Fight 1, Glovegate 1, Fight 1. And the person that really got that really started was a platform that had nothing to do with boxing. But what did it have to do with? It had everything to do with controversial, race-related things that seldomly people go to those type of channels like Young Pharaoh, okay? They go to channels like that because that's a certain platform. A certain demographic of people go to that channel anyway. The quote-unquote woke or pro-black that deals with topics that doesn't have anything to do with boxing until it did that time. They drug boxing and used that boxing event as a reason to promote further on the things that they already were talking about. So you mean to tell me you got a lot of pro-black or militant or radical thinking black people to look at a fight between a white guy and a black guy? A white guy beating a black guy, and you have that on a platform like that. How do you think that's gonna go? That's just like David Duke has his own podcast and he sees a black guy beating a white guy. If he talks about that and exploits that idea, and all he has to do is say, you know what, he was not treated fairly, how many people are going to agree with him on that platform? Just think about that for a minute. How many people can that guy, David Duke, lead astray? More than likely, the same amount of people that young Pharaoh led astray, because he's not a boxer. He's somewhat of a radical politician. Some channels, they talk about certain subjects, and that subject reached his platform. But that platform is to promote the idea of what they already think. Black person is a superior being amongst everybody else. If you're black, you're better, you're faster, you're just overall good because of the color of your skin, which is utter bullshit. Just like it's utter bullshit that a white person is supreme. So if you're looking at that either way, or really any way, honestly, I don't give a shit where you're from, you're wrong. But that was the problem. That was one of the major engines that pushed that narrative. And what's sad, channels that's supposed to be boxing channels went on right along with it. Why? Because it made so much noise. And it sold them a lot. Think about it, guys. There wasn't fights going on at that time. People needed content. They needed content. They needed something to push. The fighter that they pushed in America just got beat the fuck up. They needed something to push their channel. So, I need you to understand that. Glovegate was needed to push the channel and possibly a third fight, but honestly, I don't think a lot of those channels, not all, but a lot of them, maybe most of them, didn't want a third fight because of the way they were talking. They were talking as though Tyson Fury should be stripped or banned and never to return to the sport of boxing. Well, he's already got beaten, or should I say, he's already tested positive by UCAD, so this is the second test. They tried, and they tried again. So you can't, that's why I'm not convinced, like, okay, are you even sure that Wilder can even win a third fight? So, since they followed a channel, and the idea of a channel that's not even a boxing channel, mind you, a channel that talks about all types of different things that have nothing to do with the sport. They followed that. But in the meantime, because they followed that, they overlooked something that they should have saw. What was that? What could Deontay Wilder blame? What could he really complain about in that fight? Sure, guy was holding him, locking him up. Okay, he got pointed. He got a point deduction. Okay? That took legs out of me. He was holding me. He was almost 300 pounds. And the man was leaning on me. That made my legs a little weak, along with the costume, I think. And I felt that was a little heavy. Because that's the only logical explanation that I have. And rock with that. What else could Deontay Wilder complain about? The one major thing that changed the whole fight, that people overlook because they're trying to create excuses instead of looking for actual things that actually matter. The knockdown. Yes, the knockdown. Where did Tyson Fury hit Deontay Wilder? behind the ear. That could have really looked at it. That could have been a borderline punch that could or could not be illegal. Because I've seen people get hit in that area and referees rule that as an illegal punch or a slip, right? Because I watched it over and over and over and over again. If you look at it, it looks like it was kind of behind the head. It was actually in that area. And Wilder fell, and he fell as though he tripped. He could have said, I tripped. Tyson Fury didn't hit me with a legal blow. See, those type of things that could have been, which I wouldn't have really contested, because that makes more sense than the shit that they're talking about, than gloves that you or your team did not realize until the second fight was over. Now, see, that by itself is a reason why I would tell people, or a reason really you should get rid of a fight or a team. JD's, you got to go. Mark Breland, you got to go too. Why? Because if I have to go back, or my friends or my close circle of people have to go back and look at gloves being floppy and my team missed it because they should have caught it, y'all got to go. Because the question I would have asked myself is, why in JD's, why hasn't he seen that and brought it to my attention like my friends have? Why hasn't Mark Breland brought it to my attention like my friends have? And in fact, how do we know that Deontay Wilder actually went to anybody? Okay, he fired Mark Breland, the qualified guy. So how do we know that Deontay Wilder didn't go to JD's? JD's, man, take a look at this. What do you think about these gloves? You see what I'm saying? See, the things that they're accusing have no backbone, because they have no true support. And what I mean true support is, you fired one trainer and then another trainer has been mute. And think about what I'm saying. The hype guy, the front guy is JD's. He's the labeled head trainer, right? He's the guy in all the media shows and fights, right? All those. He is in those media workout days with Deontay. He's the guy that speaks for Deontay, sounding like a football coach. He's the guy that's the representative to watch the gloves being handled. That's the guy that he's supposed to go to for support, if anything. Why didn't he go to him? See, these are the things that people don't think about that they should think about. And why didn't Deontay contest the first knockdown? So we got a knockdown that it was borderline, or possibly could be borderline, which the referee, Kenny Bayless, didn't rule it that way. Just like Jack Reese didn't rule Yordenis Ugas' punch a legal punch for Sean Porter. He ruled it as a slip. Right? So that's really the referee's discretion. So in some cases, it's good for some fighters and it's bad for others. That's how it works. That's why I love fights, because they're not team sports. It doesn't affect the whole group of people, just one person or the other person. So those are the things that Deontay Wilder should have looked at. And because he didn't, and he went with everything else that everybody else started shoveling, that's where he's at and why he's in the position he is today. You guys tell me what you think about this particular video. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunching. Peace.